protecting and keeping our women and girls safe. And not just here in Jamaica, but right around the world. Even if we're just looking at what's happening in the news right now, we're looking at in France, for example, the Giselle Pellicot case. That's a case of the woman whose husband drugged her and then invited a bunch of strangers to just rape her repeatedly. We're looking at, for example, in Afghanistan, where women are now not even allowed to speak to each other. It is still necessary for us to do more to ensure that we create a world where women have equal opportunities, equal access, and can be safe.
Yeah. So we're going to France. You just mentioned
Afghanistan.
Let's take it closer home. What's
Yeah.
happening here?
All right. So for Jamaica, I can give you the statistics because in 2016, the Women's Health Survey told us that 1 in 4 women in Jamaica experiences intimate partner violence and sexual violence in the course of her lifetime. That figure has been updated in 2024 by Women Count to 2 in 5. Now, to show you the difference between 1 in 4 and 2 in 5, 1 in 4 is 27%, 2 in 5 is 39%. So we are actually seeing an increase, a slight increase, but increase nevertheless in the numbers of gender-based violence that women and girls are facing in the country.
You're doing the data update. What do we attribute this to?
It is largely due to what we believe about women and girls and how we treat them as a result.
What do we believe?
So, for example, and I'm going to use a very recent news story.
And let me ask you why I ask you, because you look at Jamaica, right? In many ways, women are doing really well here, right? Most supervisors, most middle managers, top level management, climbing the corporate ladder, most women in school, in university, it's 70-30 split, right? Women.
Yep.
So it's a great paradox.
It's kind of not a paradox, because one of the things I find very interesting about this whole concept of gender is the power imbalance. We can have the numbers, we can be the majority and still not hold the power.
Patriarchy.
That is it. That's the word, patriarchy. It is a system that is so deeply entrenched in our society that it really does prevent women and girls from holding legitimate and genuine power in the spaces where decision making is taking place. So we can be the middle managers, and we can have a lot of women who are, for example, in businesses and being entrepreneurs. But what the numbers tell us are that they end up still having smaller businesses than the men, or that they turn less money over than the men. We still don't see them on boards. We're not seeing them in parliament in equal numbers. There are more now than in the past, but not in equal numbers. So, for example, this news story of that young lady, that school student who was brutally raped by 6 students. It is what they believe about their access to the female body that allows them to do that. And it's something that you really have to think about as a society. How are we raising our boys? How are we socializing our men to look at, view, and think about the female body?
Yeah.
Is there a sense of entitlement that we are? Is there a sense of objectification? Are we sexualizing our women and girls to the point where our men and boys believe that this is something that they should get or should have access to, even if she says no repeatedly? It is something we have to ask ourselves as a society. So yeah, it is how we're socializing our society, and it is how we're viewing our women and girls, and it's something we really have to think and talk about.
When you talk this morning, it sounds like it's all doom.
Man, listen,
because no progress.
We have to, for me, I have to be honest about what the reality is. And a part of this journey is that we have seen so many different movements and so many different efforts at a global level, at a local level, at a regional level. And the reason why it is not changing as fast as we would hope is because these things are deeply entrenched in our society.
I was going to ask you that, because to tackle this is a mindset shift that we're going after.
Behavior
right?
change takes
It's a whole
years.
shift that we're going after, and how it is that we culture our children. And it's going to take years, as you rightly said, because we have had years of this. But in terms of the We Talk campaign, how are you tackling this? What are you telling people?
Because we understand that this behavior change takes years. We Talk is a 5-year project started in 2022, funded by Global Affairs Canada and Oxfam Canada. That is about reducing and preventing gender-based violence. How we go into the communities and have the conversations with people. We talk about some of the same things I mentioned earlier. How are we socializing our men and boys? How are we socializing even our women and girls? How do we see each other? How do we relate to each other? When we are in relationships that are intimate, how are we taught to relate to each other? Because some of the things we don't ask ourselves, for example, is, am I doing a relationship the way I want to, or the way I saw my parents and my parents' parents and my parents' parents do it? So we really have to ask these questions. So we have the workshops. Outside of the workshops, we're also doing a media campaign. Why? Because media is so, as you know,
absolutely
so effective in conveying messages, in just instilling ideas in people. So we are also doing capacity building with civil society groups who are working in the field on a daily basis. And we try to have dialogue with the duty bearers being like persons in government, persons who provide the support and the services to survivors and victims of gender-based violence. And we're doing all of that because we recognize the importance of a multi-stakeholder approach. It takes all of us. It has to be everybody working together at the grassroots level, at the government level. Legislation has to change. Support services have to be just reinforced, and we have to ensure that we're providing quality services to people so that when I go to report a case, it will be treated with respect. As a man, if a man is reporting that he has experienced GBV, he will not be laughed out of the station. He will be able to be taken seriously, and the case will be treated with the amount of dignity and respect that it should. These things we need to change in our society.
Because men do experience
gender-based violence. They do.
There are women who abuse their men. It's a thing, everybody. So if you're watching this morning and you don't know, now you know. 16 days of activism against gender-based violence started on the 25th. That's yesterday. Runs until the 10th. What's going to be happening?
All right. So for WMW Jamaica on these 16 days.
And WMW Jamaica is?
WMW Jamaica is a 35-year-old women's rights organization that has been doing work on behalf of women and girls for a very long time. I met them in university, and now I work with them full time. So for us, on Thursday, December 5, we will be in Papine Square from 3 to 5, just 2 hours. But we will be there as part of something called Thursdays in Black. We will be peacefully bearing placards. We will have our PA system. We will be giving testimonials from persons who have survived GBV. We will be sending messages of hope and positivity to survivors of GBV. And we will also be distributing slips with helpline numbers on them for persons who need that kind of support and assistance. We do this as a form of community engagement and also to stand in solidarity with survivors and victims of GBV. And because it is IDVA and the 16 days are specifically about women and girls, we are looking specifically at empowering our women and girls through this activity. Also, we are asking everybody in the public to join us by adding your voice, adding your face to the campaign online. So you can film yourself wearing full black because it's Thursdays in Black, and just say something positive to a survivor of GBV, or call for an end to GBV. Call for a society that supports and keeps our women and girls safe. And once you do that, you can use the hashtag WeTalkFacts, that is WeTalkFacts, WeTalkFacts, or Thursdays in Black, hashtag Thursdays in Black JA, or hashtag NGBVJA, and post it, tag WMW Jamaica, and we will reproduce as well. So we're asking everybody to do that. Even for the story of the schoolgirl from yesterday, one of the things we said we're gonna do is a Hey Schoolgirl tweet, or a Hey Schoolgirl trend. Hey schoolgirl, it's not your fault. Hey schoolgirl, we should have kept you safe as a society. We as a society are sorry that that happened to you. Hey schoolgirl, you have a right to be safe wherever you are, regardless of what you're wearing, regardless of who you're hanging out with, or if you're the only girl around, you should be safe. And that is something we're asking everybody to also get on board with. Send messages of positivity and hope to this schoolgirl who was so brutalized the other day.
That underground activation that you spoke of to come on the 5th is very important, because if we don't address this at the community level, which is that level where you say we need to break those curses of seeing what our parents did and our parents'
generational
parents.
cycles.
Very, very important. Ruth, big up on the work that you guys are doing. You're obviously very passionate about your job, and those are the kind of people we need in positions like this to create change.
Thanks.
Uphill battle, but we keep pushing the rock uphill, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Ruth Howard, Program Manager for the We Talk, which is for the reduction of gender-based violence campaign. We're back with more after this.